Children in the internally displaced persons camp at Wassa behind Apple resettlement in the Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria's capital. These children, along with their parents, fled from places like Goza local government area of Borno State, Yobe State, and Benue State because of insurgency and the farmer elders crisis. They have endured several pledges of better welfare and hope for education from the authority of their host community, the Federal Capital Territory Administration. IDP Center Wassa is the biggest camp in the Federal Capital Territory with over 5,600 persons as residents as at 2022. The IDP community has not only suffered neglect, which includes lack of basic amenities, but provision of quality education as well. As of December 2020, Nigeria had over 2.7 million internally displaced persons, the largest in sub-Saharan Africa. Among these figures were thousands of girls and boys of primary and secondary school age. Reports say over 60% of these children in internally displaced camps in the Federal Capital Territory are out of school. Following the adoption of the National Policy on Internally Displaced Persons by Nigeria in September 2021, the federal government approved the policy to strengthen institutional mechanisms and frameworks for the realization of the rights, dignity, and well-being of the vulnerable population in Nigeria. Hence, the Wassa IDP Center became one of the internally displaced camps to benefit from the federal government through the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and IDPs. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons in 2021 built a transitional learning center, a school for the children of the internally displaced persons in the biggest camp of the FCT in 2021. The target was to improve access of children in the community to education. The school project was a pilot program in 5 states of Zamfara, Bauchi, Cross River, Imo, Edo, and the Federal Capital Territory. The transitional school, which enjoyed the support of the Universal Basic Education Commission on inception, was initially established by Maple Leaf Early Years Foundation, a self-funded non-governmental organization. Reports say a total number of 100 children enjoyed scholarship of free education at the federal government Maple Transitional IDP School in Wassa Camp, Abuja. This education opportunity gave a new lease on life for children and their families as the pupils got free uniforms, sandals, textbooks, and writing materials. They also enjoyed free meals daily. Certainly, internal displacement often places stress on inadequate educational infrastructure, and as these displaced children continue to attend school, for them, it is a case of parallel system of education. Mrs. Nso Emmanuel, a resident of the Wassa community, and Teve Emmanuel's mother, a pupil of Federal Government Maple Leaf Early Years Foundation, narrate her experience on the free education offered in this transitional learning center.
Makaranta Watson, I share again career Kamakaranta Gumenti Gana, and Bachija Shaka Kimbin Wood. Shanahayo, Junior Yam equals so a Mount Willonari by Shimavin down. Shy Winda Urenqua, Uruwan Gayo. So do one Makaranta Mapo, my one LEA, nomadic. That's you with Mangana teacher. Baklaja Muame. Kanyare PTA, Kimbi teacher him Makaranta Mapo. Kagu Kanguda Hela him a Mapo. Olu teacher.
Within the same Wassa IDP community, local education authority existed since 2007. The school was said to be founded by a nomad was also a victim of insurgency from northeast Nigeria. AD4 TV Radio gathered that he garnered the support of community members to begin a Western Education Learning Center in 2 blocks of classroom. This learning center was since adopted by the Federal Capital Territory Administration through its local education authority, an education expert and an authority in the school. Recall the history of the learning center, now known as Local Education Authority Nomadic, Wasa FCT Abuja.
Ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ètò Leads and Works lórí ẹ̀rọ rédíò AD4 TV Radio bí a ó ṣe máa fojú lámẹ̀yìntàn wo àwọn ìwà ìbàjẹ́ lórí ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní gbogbo ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní àwọn ilé ìwé ìjọba tó wà nílùú Àbújá tí ń ṣe olú ìlú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà àti ipa irúfẹ́ ìwà ìbàjẹ́ náà máa ń kó lórí àwọn ọ̀dọ́mọdébìnrin, ọ̀dọ́mọdékùnrin, àwọn àkàndá ènìyàn, àwọn obìnrin àti ọ̀dọ́ lápapọ̀. Bákan náà lórí ètò yìí a ó tún máa ṣàgbéyẹ̀wò nípa àwọn ètò ìlànà ìjọba tó ṣe pàtàkì àti ipa tí wọ́n ń kó lórí àwọn olùgbé ìlú Àbújá. Ẹ fojú sọ́nà bí a ó ṣe máa jẹ̀gbádùn ètò alárinrin yìí lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. Ilé-iṣẹ́ AD4 TV Radio pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ ẹ̀ka ilé-iṣẹ́ Wọlé Ṣóyínká lórí ètò ìròyìn ìwádìí ló ṣe atọ́kùn ètò yìí pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ àjọ MacArthur Foundation.
It was established by individual effort by the community. First, the name of the community is Wasa Community, and the school was started by one Fulani man, just as a volunteer. After some times, government stepped in by sending some teachers, and they officially took over the school till date. As LEA, the name of the school now changed to LEA Nomadic Wasa, that is Local Education Authority.
The education expert said though the Federal Capital Territory Administration added 2 blocks of classrooms to the existing learning facility, but that the school has long suffered a new stretch of neglect.
The school just a block of 2 classrooms, which was built by the effort of the community. From there, government now added up some blocks of classrooms, sent head teachers, to the schools, and they started work immediately as expected of them. That is 2007. I came in as the head teacher of the school. I discovered that the situation of learning is so pathetic, but by the pure grace of God, I was able to change the narration. Quite numbers of the pupils, about 70% of them are sitting on the floor. They don't have seat. Only 30% of them are sitting comfortably on the seat. And majority of the students, they speak Hausa, which I look at, I frown at it. It's not supposed to be like that way. I address my teachers. I encourage them that in their classes, they should make sure that they use English at most 70%, and 30% of them should be summarized in Hausa, the language that they understand more better. But predominantly, they should use English during their lessons, because not understanding English does not mean that we should continue teaching them in Hausa. It's not the best option for us. That is why they are here to learn.
Although the learning condition of Wasa IDP LEA Nomadic School with 372 enrollment rate appeared to have been upwardly reviewed, yet pupils and staff still face their challenges of learning materials, furniture for teaching staff, as well as school uniforms for the pupils.
The present challenges we are facing is, as it is now, we don't have source of water in the school. On a daily basis, we buy water from borehole from the community. We need additional toilet for the children. We need staff furniture. Staff don't have table and chairs. The side of the student also, they need learning materials.
Like what and what?
They need textbooks, they need exercise books, and also uniform to make them dress well. You can see that most of them in the classes, they have problem of this uniform. And as a teacher, looking at considering the situation of the community there, because of that, I cannot just send them away. I need to just give them that consideration. So that at least getting the knowledge is the basic fact. And when you look at them, majority of them, they are IDP children. They are from the camp, and I believe these parents are passing through challenges from one to many others. And they used to come and complain to me. And I knew what they are passing through. That's why I give them that consideration. With uniform, without uniform, I engage them.
Crucial to mention is the crisis that affected the source of livelihood of families of some of these children. The farmers' health crisis, the major challenge that impacted the means of income of their parents, still affect their education today. Also critical to mention is the alarming poverty rate of over 60% of parents living below poverty level in the IDP camps. A mother of a pupil in early Wasa, Aisha Isa, narrates the challenges her family faces daily to meet the education needs of her daughter.
Ni da iyali na mun fito daga karamar hukumar Gwarzo a jihar Borno. Mun zo mun zauna a nan na tsawon shekaru. Dama ina yin noma, amma mutane masu dabbobi ba su bar mana gona yayi kyau ba, sai dabbobi sun zo suna ci mana amfanin gona. Dama ina kokarin yin noma ne domin taimaki iyalina kuma da mai gidana. A yanzu haka ban iya na siya wa 'yata uniform ba, kuma ban iya na biya kuɗin makaranta, ban iya na biya kuɗin PTA ba. Amma ita shugaban makaranta ta yarda cewa 'yata ta rubuta jarabawa kafin nan in samu in biya kuɗin PTA.
Contrary to the belief that the Wasa Local Education Authority Nomadic School in the Federal Capital Territory is still being fully supported by the Federal Capital Authority, education is currently on the parallel for these children as they continue to shop to secure their future in gaining education in an inconducive environment. The management and the administration of the facility seems to also have been returned to the community.
When I came on board in this school, in fact, we have so many changes. The situation, we found out these pupils sitting on the floor. You can see that you go almost around the classes, you see that majority of them, 95% of them, they are sitting comfortably on their seat. It's my effort. Secondly, you could see that even the rate of the income we're talking about, it changed. Because I told them that without uniform, we will not accommodate you in school, we will not allow you to stay in our classes. Because it is only uniform that will differentiate you from students that are not in the school and the ones that are not even part of the other schools. But at a point, we don't have option. We have to just manage their affairs because it's not all of them that can afford that. And it's something that government welcome it also. We need to give consideration to these vulnerable children. Understand? And by coming to this school, you can also see that the numbers of teachers was quite different from before. Before, they used to have just 2-3 teachers in the school. Then now we have almost about 13 teachers in the school. Each of the teachers will have each of the classes will have 2 teachers. And aside from that, these are government staffs. I also employ 2 teachers as PTA, employ 2 PTA watchmen.
1 in every 5 of the world's out-of-school children is in Nigeria, according to the United Nations Population Fund, UNICEF. Despite that primary education is officially free and compulsory across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Article 28 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC, makes education a right for every child worldwide, including those in the internally displaced camps. Bothersome to note is that internally displaced children are almost invisible in global and national data, And more worrisome it is to observe that many internally displaced children grow up deprived of education and the long-term opportunities it affords. Equitable access to quality education for internally displaced children in the IDP camp Wassa has become a luxury as an authority of Wassa Local Education Authority Nomadic School in the Federal Capital Territory further exposes us to the challenges confronting the education of children in the IDP Center Wassa in the Federal Capital Territory.
They need textbooks, they need exercise books, and also uniform to make them dress well. You can see that most of them in the classes they have problem of this uniform. And as a teacher, looking at considering the situation of the community there, because of that, I cannot just send them away. I need to just give them that consideration. That at least getting the knowledge is the basic fact. And when you look at them, majority of them, they are IDP children. They are from the camp, and I believe these parents are passing through challenges from one to many others. And they used to come and complain to me. And I know what they are passing through. That's why I give them that consideration. With uniform, without uniform, I engage them.
Ku kasance tare da mu yayin da muke tattaunawa kan yadda matsalolin cin hanci da rashawa ya dabaibaye ingancin ilimi a makarantun gwamnati da ke birnin tarayya Abuja da ma Najeriya a matakan ilimi daban-daban, tasirin ilimin ga 'ya'ya mata da maza da ma masu bukata ta musamman, mata da matasa ma ba a bar su a baya ba. Kasance da kafar AD4 TV Radio don ilmantuwa kan manufofin gwamnati, tsare-tsare da ma yadda matakan aiwatar da su ke tasiri ko akasin haka. Yin tankaɗe da riraya na daga cikin abubuwan da muke baiwa muhimmanci. Ku tabbatar kun kasance da tashar mu ta AD4 TV Radio a kowane mako don sauraron wannan shirin. Bisa ɗaukar nauyin AD4 TV Radio da cibiyar Wole Soyinka da ke tallafawa binciken injin da tallafawar gidauniyar Makata.
An official of the Stand With a Girl Initiative SWAG, a non-governmental organization, ETL SWAG, speaks on the present state of education of children in Wassa Nomadic LEA IDP school.
About the status of these children since Stand With a Girl initiatives intervention without government support at the Wassa Internally Displaced Persons Camp. Stand With a Girl initiative is a youth-led organization dedicated to empowering girls in Nigeria, and we ensure that every girl, no matter where she's born or found, is empowered to fulfill her maximum potential. And we have made significant progress in addressing the challenges faced by marginalized girls, especially that of those at the Wassa IDP camp in FCT. SWAG has achieved 1. Formal education enrollment for 30 girls. So we have provided scholarship, covering tuition, uniforms, and transportation costs, which enables 30 girls to access and sustain their formal education. And this also helps them break the circle of poverty and promote education as a fundamental right, because education is a right for every child and not a privilege. We also have vocational skill training for 30 girls with support from the Emerging Market Foundation, Empower. SWAG has trained 30 girls in bag making and tailoring, and these skills empower the girls to support their families and contribute to their communities economically. We have also carried out mentorship and life skills program for over 70 girls. SWAG has mentored and trained 70 girls in life skills, self-esteem, and sexual and reproductive health, rights, and information. This safe space and mentorship program equip girls to make informed decisions and it build resilience for their future.
The SWAG official further speaks to the violation of the right to education of children in the IDP camp Wassa in Abuja.
So IDP children retain their legal rights to education. I know that the Universal Basic Education Act of 2024 mandates free and compulsory education for all Nigerian children. Even internationally, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children, which Nigeria has ratified, affirms that every child, regardless of their circumstances, has the right to education. However, implementation gaps such as financial insecurity, safety concern, and inadequate infrastructure often make it difficult for IDP children to access this right. The exclusion of IDP children from quality education constitutes a violation of their rights, and according to the Child Rights Act, children are entitled to education, development, and protection. However, when we talk about child labor, a 2022 Human Rights Watch report found that 40% of children in IDP camps engage in child labor, which deprives them of educational opportunities. For early marriage, now the same report of 2022 of Human Rights Watch noted that over 30% of girls in camps like Wasa marry before the age of 18, and this limits their education and future prospects. For inadequate facilities, the lack of proper classrooms and trained teachers violates the universal right to quality education, and this is outlined in UNESCO's Education 2030 Agenda. Supporting IDP children education. Stand With a Girl initiative is fully committed to advancing education and opportunities for internally displaced girls, particularly those between the ages of 10 to 24. And our key commitments are: the first one is increasing enrollment and retention. And this is why we work to ensure that IDP girls not only access education, but also remain in school. So through scholarship, educational materials, and transportation support, we break down barriers to education and lay a foundation for a brighter future. The second one is enhancing skills and knowledge. Stand With a Girl initiative offers mentorship programs to enhance literacy, numeracy, and life skills, while our vocational training initiative, such as bag making and tailoring, empowers girls with practical skills for financial independence. And we also provide sexual and reproductive health education to help them make informed decisions about their health. And the third one, advocacy for community support. Stand With a Girl initiative engages community leaders and decision makers to promote ownership of girls' education, health, and livelihood. And this is why we constantly work to influence policies that support the inclusion of girls in IDP camp and fosters community-driven solutions for the empowerment of girls.
Acknowledging significant challenges of children in the internally displaced camps in exercising their right to education, our respondents listed from capacity to infrastructure and resource constraint to persistent insecurity, social tensions, among others, as critical hindrances to the education of the children living in IDP camps in the Federal Capital Territory.
The challenges confronting the education of IDP children include infrastructure deficits. You see, only 3 out of 10 IDP camps in FCT have makeshift classroom, and this was reported by Save the Children in 2023. We have teacher shortages as well. The teacher to student ratio in IDP camp is 1:50, far exceeding the recommended ratio of 1:20 as given by UNESCO. Talk about economic pressures. Over 60% of families in IDP camp live in extreme poverty, and this limits their ability to prioritize education, as reported by World Bank in 2022. Gender bias, cultural norms, and early marriages affect girls. Mental health issues. The trauma from displacement and conflict severely impacts children's ability to learn, and this was given by a report of MSF 2022.
Speaking on the support given by the administration of the Federal Capital Territory to the education of children living in the FCT, ETEL challenged the FCTA to give more priority to providing quality education for these children.
Federal Capital Territory Administration has made some efforts to support IDP children's education, such as distributing learning materials and announcing plans to build schools in camps like Wassa. However, these initiatives have faced delays and limited implementation, as noted in the FCT Education Secretariat 2022 report. These efforts have not been enough to address the educational challenges faced by displaced children and leaves many without access to quality education. In response, Stand With a Girl initiative has been actively involved in ensuring that vulnerable children, particularly girls at the Wassa internally displaced persons camp, continue to have access to quality education, empowered by mentorship and life skills training through the Stand With a Girl education project. Displaced girls in Wassa have now taken a leadership role in advocating for educational rights. And these girls, with Stand With a Girl initiative's guidance, conducted an advocacy visit to the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, and highlighted the need for increased government investment in education at Wassa Primary School. They also submitted a letter to the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, advocating for the establishment of a junior secondary school in Wassa.
While maximizing the potential protection and other vital support that the government is providing for the displaced persons and their children in the Federal Capital Territory, ensuring access to quality and unbiased national education system for these children in Wassa IDP camp and other IDP camps in the Federal Capital Territory is fundamental to their future, as well as the safety of the Federal Capital Territory and the overall development of the nation's capital and Nigeria as a whole.